Hey, what is up, everyone? This is Ete with another episode of Eco Lawn Science. Before we start, I just want to give my best wishes out there for anyone who is being impacted by this coronavirus. Obviously, it's a crazy time out there. It's found its way into our small town here in this little mountain valley, so we're kind of on lockdown. But just praying and wishing the best for those who have been affected by it. Those family members and friends of those who have actually been affected by the disease, and also all those just on a business standpoint who may be struggling, having to shut their doors, wondering how the heck are we going to pay our bills. It is a bit scary, and so I wish the best for you, and I am hopeful. As we're just about to hit spring, we're starting to get warmer temperatures. The lawns are starting to wake up a bit, and the plants are starting to come alive. And, it just feels like a renewal, a rebirth of this time of year. And I hope that feeling that nature's bringing can carry into the economy and to all those that are struggling with this thing. But either way, we continue on with the show. We don't have much more to do. We're pretty much locked inside these days. And so I want to do another episode. So let's just keep things going. Episode 31, we're going to talk about lime. I had a client ask me, do I need to lime my lawn? And the answer to that is depends on where you are, and it depends on what your soil needs. So quickly, a little back history on what lime is. So lime is a soil amendment, and it comes from a limestone rock. They ground it up, and it usually has high calcium carbonate and magnesium carbonate. And so when you add this to your soil under your lawn, basically it'll increase the soil's pH, making it less acidic and more alkaline. So if you have an acidic soil, significantly acidic, then if it's slightly acidic, it might not be a problem. But if you have significant acidic soil in where you're trying to grow, whether it's a crop, whether it's a plant, a lawn, that's where lime can come into play. And then you get the benefits from the carbon and the magnesium. Now, it's not a fertilizer. It doesn't replace fertilizer. You still need to have a good fertilization program, but it is a soil amendment. And the key there is you have to start with the soil and get it right, because what happens is if your pH is way insanely off, either high or low, that's going to react on how your lawn can utilize what you're doing. So if your pH is extremely acidic, a lot of the fertilizers, even the natural rain, things like that, they're not being properly utilized. So by getting that pH balance correct and dialed in, the health of your lawn and its ability to really utilize that fertilizer and everything else will take off. So of course, the question is, do I need to apply lime? Well, I can't answer that yet. I have to have a soil sample. On average, it depends on where you are in the country and what type of grass, what type of soil you have, but on average, lawns need to be somewhere around 6 to 7 on a pH scale. I mean, if you're at 5.8 and your area requires 5.8, that's okay. Sometimes 5.8 to 7.2, but for the sake of simpleness, we're going to say somewhere around 6 to 7 is where you want to have your lawn. And cool season grasses are going to be slightly higher. And so how do you find out? Basically, you could take a soil sample. There are pH testers. There's all kinds. I used to use these ones. They're about $400, and you'd go out and you test different clients' lawns. But they were tricky. You had to wipe it off with these film in between every time it touched dirt. Otherwise, the results would be inaccurate. I have found that trying to use that over and over, it wasn't what I wanted. It was a lot of work, and I think I didn't love what I was getting, the experience. So I ended up using a lab. You can use your state's lab, your extension lab, for the university, or there are individual soil testing labs. And so what's going to happen is you're going to take the samples. If you send it to the lab, they're going to send it back, and there's going to be a level. It's going to say pH, and then it's going to say if it's significantly off, it's usually going to have some type of correction path guidelines. So let's say you're trying to get your soil at 6.5, and you get it back and it says the pH is at 4.5, and you go, holy cow, we're way off. We got to get up significantly. That's where lime comes in. And usually your results will say, okay, to correct this, start by putting 10 pounds of lime per 1,000 square foot. Or whatever it may say. And so you'll just start you'll follow those instructions. Now, the lime itself is very heavy. It's like, it's basically ground up little Rockstone dirt things. And Is that a term? Rockstone dirt things. I think that's an official term. But they're heavy and they're sometimes backbreaking. I remember back in the day in Jersey, we did a little lawn. It was like 5,000 square foot. Got the soil analysis, and it was like it needed 10,000. No, it was like 20,000 pounds of lime per 1,000. So, I mean, we used like 5 or 6 bags, so it's a lot of work physically, but the results were great. I would say this, if you get the result, you need the lime. So fall is going to be one of my favorite times to lime. You could do it in the spring, but fall is great because you have a lot of natural moisture. It can help break it down. And so what I would say is, let's say you're trying to get the pH up, do what the recommendation. So let's say it says 10,000. Let's say you need 10 pounds per 1,000 square feet. I would start there and then apply the lime by the recommended rates, and then wait about a month, let it all settle in, and then see where you're at maybe in late October. And then if, let's say, you're closer but you're still not there, I would wait until spring then to do the next treatment. I don't know if I'd jump right on it and just keep working on it. I would wait, let it all settle in, let it break down, wait till spring, do another pH test, and then make your adjustment, and then do another pH test. And eventually what will happen is you'll get that pH to a point where it's close, and then you'll just test once a year, and you'll find that if you're doing the proper program and proper liming, you'll find that it just needs slight adjustments. So maybe it's only 3 pounds per 1,000, and then and maybe it's an annual thing of a slight adjustment. Your pH will change everything. Think about it. Everything that impacts your lawn has its own pH. Whether you have pine needles that break down and fall into the soil, whether you have different pHs in the rain or the irrigation, all these things. But usually they don't get too out of whack. If once you get it pretty dialed in, you get yourself kind of a regular program, might be once a year in the fall, you find out your effective rate and you get your lime in, and you'll notice a big difference because your lawn will be able to use everything else you're doing so much better. You do have to, if you over lime, you can actually injure your grass. I've never seen a lawn killed, but I have seen it turn yellowy and really stressed from over liming. So there is a bit of science to it, and I recommend starting with the pH test and then moving forward and just kind of taking it slow, realizing you're working with nature, you're working with living organisms, so don't just try to blast it all out in one shot. Just break it up. So it's a good product. A lot of times in Utah we don't have as much acidic soil, but I know back east it was really off. And so different parts of the country are going to require different amounts of lime. Some will not require any. And so anyway, I hope this helps. A little bit about lime. If you have any questions, just go ahead and shoot me an email. And love to help out. Hope you have a great day, and please stay safe out there.